City of Stevens Point Plan Commission meeting, recorded November 2nd, 2020.
Okay, it is 6 p.m. As I alluded to just a moment ago, Mayor Wiesa is excused this evening. So I will go ahead and call the meeting to order, and then we can appoint a temporary chair. I will first do a roll call, just make sure we have quorum. Kneebone? Mary? Can you hear me? All right. Pete Arnson?
I'm here.
Okay. Commissioner Cooper?
Here.
Commissioner Haynes?
Here.
Commissioner Hoppy? Commissioner Rice? And I will go back, Commissioner Kneebone. I see she is on the call. We'll just keep going forward. I would go ahead and ask for nominations for a temporary chair.
Ryan, I'd be willing to do it.
Yeah, I nominate Dave Cooper for the temporary chair, conditional chair, whatever.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second to?
Second, Anna.
Anna Haynes. Any other nominations? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So Mr. Cooper, you are now chair.
Okay, we'll just move right along to agenda item 2 then, which is the report of the October 19th, 2020 meeting of the Plan Commission. Director, anything to add?
Nothing to add. More than happy to answer any questions or make any clerical corrections if anyone spotted anything.
Okay, questions for the director or motion?
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as are.
Do we have a second?
Second, Rice.
Rice. Further discussion on the motion to approve the minutes?
I'm just wondering if we got Mary online here yet. Is she available?
Actually, I wrote her a note. This is Anna. And I asked if she could hear us, and she said she couldn't. So now I don't know if she can.
Can you hear us now,
Yes.
Mary?
Yeah, I've got it. I've got
Okay.
it. So we have a motion and a second. I did hear that.
Okay. All right, so all those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carries. Agenda item 3, public hearing and action on a request for Marshfield Clinic for a conditional use permit pursuant to Chapter 23.02, Subsection 2D3A, to construct a hospital addition to the property at 4100 State Highway 66, Parcel I deed. Director.
I'll turn this over to Mr. Kuhn.
All right, thank you, Director Karnowski. So the request before the commission tonight is a request by Marshfield Clinic to construct an approximate 30,250 square foot addition onto the clinic. Now, this proposed expansion will consist of 2 stories and house a variety of different uses, which was outlined in the report, some of which including an emergency department, a surgery center, an inpatient unit, and some other support spaces as well. Now, in addition to the hospital addition as well, there are some other proposals that's proposed to take place on the site as well, including a parking lot expansion to satisfy rather the proposed hospital addition, likewise a propane tank enclosure to be constructed as well. Now, as indicated in the staff report, hospitals are considered a conditional use within the B4 district, thus requiring the review of the Plan Commission tonight. So just to give a little overview of the proposed addition, on your screen, the left-hand portion of your screen shows the existing conditions here on the site, whereas the right shows the conceptual plan for the site. So you can see on the image to your right, the hospital addition, again, 2 stories, is proposed to be located on the far eastern corner of the property, again, attached to the existing facility. On the bottom portion of your screen, you can see the proposed parking lot expansion, again, to accompany the increase in square footage to the existing building itself. You can see the propane tank enclosure on the far northeast corner of the property. And then likewise, there's the existing utility yard. And also, as part of this proposal, is a mobile MRI unit that's going to be that's proposed to be located in the rear of the building itself. Now, within this proposed addition, there's 2 points of entry. The first one of which is a hospital and emergency department entry located parallel with the main entry to the clinic itself. Likewise, on the far eastern portion of the property, there is an ambulance entrance situated, primarily focused just for emergency response vehicles that need to be transporting individuals in and out of the clinic as it's needed. So here are some conceptual views of the proposed addition as well, showing the broad height of the building itself. Now, the image on the top of your screen here shows the front view of the building, which is proposed to be pretty similar to what the existing facade is of Marshfield Clinic today. Whereas on the second picture on the bottom of your screen here shows more of the far eastern portion of the building, showing where this ambulance location will be located, along with more of the rear facilities as well. Now, upon reviewing this proposal, there are several key takeaways that staff had upon reviewing the request. First of which is the conformity with the existing uses and the future land uses, both of neighboring parcels rather within the city limits, and also any extraterritorial properties located on the outskirts of the property in question as well. So you can see here that most of the parcels located along Stanley Street and Highway 66 corridor are zoned for commercial use. And something that's significant to note as well is the intensity of the use as well, and that the greater intensity commercial use that's proposed here with the hospital addition is consistent with the proposed commercial uses nearby, with the existing commercial uses rather nearby. And it would also accommodate and it would also be unison with the existing traffic flow along Highway 66 and Stanley Street as well. So with that, staff does recommend approval of this conditional use permit request, subject to the conditions shown on your screen. And with that, staff will take any of your questions.
Okay, are there any questions from the commission first?
This is Commissioner Arntzen. I don't know that I have any specific concerns, but have there been any comments from neighbors? Is this the time to bring that up?
Are you regarding the public hearing notice or establishing a public hearing, or?
Or no, just the proposed actions for the property?
Sure. I have not received any notification from neighbors either in support or in opposition to the proposed request.
Okay, anything else before we open the public hearing? Okay, with that, then I will declare the public hearing open. So you will have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record and give testimony on the agenda item. For the second time, the public hearing is open. Please speak up if you have, I'm scrolling back and forth looking, but if you have something to say, please just speak up. And for the third time, the public hearing is open.
This is Thomas Lake District 8 alderperson. This is in my district. I just wanted to say I've not heard anything and it sounds great to me. So it has my support.
Thank you, Alder. Anyone else under the public hearing? For the second, we'll go with the second time. And for the third time, the public hearing remains open. Anyone final shot to say? Speak on it? Okay. And seeing no one, I will declare the public hearing closed and bring it back to the commission. Commissioners.
Commissioner Ernst and I'd move to approve pending, including staff recommendations.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Haynes, second. Further discussion from the commission on the motion.
Just a comment. I think it's a
Okay.
good idea that we, what they're doing here is good, expanding our facilities there. The medical
else?
facilities.
Okay. Then we have a motion and a second to approve the request as presented, subject to staff recommendations. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Agenda item 4, request from the City of Stevens Point to amend Chapter 23 zoning ordinance of the revised municipal code, specifically Section 23.02, subsection 1H, to remove the conditional use permit requirements and allow as permitted use reduced setbacks in the RTND Traditional Neighborhood Overlay District. Director.
Okay, so before you tonight, we've discussed this a few times informally since this official public hearing, but city staff has been working on amending the city zoning code to allow a reduced setback as a permitted use as opposed to a conditional use within the properties that fall within the traditional neighborhood development overlay district. Historically, this area is broadly defined as those in districts 1, portions of districts 2, 3, 5, 9, and a little bit of 4 on the south side. And so we've discussed this a number of times. We've shown maps in the past of where this would be most impacted. But before you tonight is the formal public hearing to amend the code to allow reduced setbacks as a permitted use as opposed to a conditional use. If you'll see on page 37 of your packet, alternate permitted setbacks for primary structures are reduced from 25 feet to 12 feet for front yard setbacks. Rear yard setbacks is 15 feet, and then side yard setbacks is 4 feet. This would allow for the building, let's say it's currently 20 feet away from the right-of-way line, to construct, let's say, a front addition, whether it be a porch addition or an expansion to an existing home that would be permitted. Currently, you have to go through the conditional use process. We also did, at the request of a few of the alders when we were going through this, included on page 37 as well. You'll see under 2B4, consideration shall be given to the impact of the proposed addition on the neighboring light, ventilation, and privacy from existing windows and yards. That is one of the requirements that they would have to meet, and staff would make that determination whether or not they've taken that into consideration when seeking a building permit to construct an addition onto their home. Anything that couldn't be met within the conditions of B1, 2, 3, or 4, the applicant could appeal a decision via conditional use to the Plan Commission and City Council if they would so choose. And then we just cleaned up the language, reduced or eliminated on page 38 the conditional use setback requirements. Included, though, detached garage instead of accessory building detached. There are some long-term conversations about detached accessory structures, accessory dwelling. And so we decided that instead of saying accessory building in a general sense, we just identified it as a detached garage. That would retain as a conditional use permit if you would like that building built within 20 feet of the front yard. 1 foot off of the side lot lines and 1 foot off of the rear. So more or less would recommend approval as presented. Again, we've talked about this a number of times. My apologies. I intended to include a few past memos on this topic that was not included in this agenda pack, and that's my apologies again. Otherwise, would be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, would recommend approval proceeding with the public hearing.
Director, I have a question. Was this noticed as a public hearing? Because it's not agended as a public hearing.
It was noticed as a public hearing, yeah.
Okay. Noted. Okay, questions from the, clarifying questions from the commission to the director before we open the public hearing. Okay. Seeing none, then I will open the public hearing on agenda item 4. Please state your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes to give testimony on the agenda item. Public hearing is open. For a second time, the public hearing is open. Please just speak up if you wish to say something. For the third time, the public hearing is open. Please just speak up if you wish to give testimony on the agenda item. Okay, seeing none, I will declare the public hearing closed and bring it back to the commission. Commissioners.
Alder Debout here. I will move approval of the ordinance amendment as presented.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'd second Commissioner Aronson.
Commissioner Arneson is a second. Okay, do we have any further discussion on the motion, which is to approve?
I'll just comment. I looked through this. Everything seems consistent with what we've talked about in previous meetings. Am I missing anything? Is there something in here that we haven't talked about before? I know it's a tough question, but otherwise it all looks good to me.
Nope, I think we've stayed pretty consistent with what we've discussed. I will make a quick note. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but this would apply to single and two family uses. Historically, it's only been allowed to be utilized under a single family. So this would expand that a little bit more. And that's a pretty substantial change to the zoning ordinance. So that should be noted as well.
And the significance of that is two resident as opposed to one.
The majority, well, shouldn't say the majority, but a number of the properties within the traditional neighborhood development overlay district are zoned to R3, which is our single and two family zoning classification, where you can build a duplex as a permitted use. So to zoning staff, it made a lot more sense to just include it as part of the alternative setback requirements.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that, with the two family still dealing with the same restrictions or non-restrictions, I guess. So good, thanks.
This is Alder Jennings. I do have a question in that case.
Yes.
Alder Jennings, District 1. So with that change, that means a what was formerly called a boarding house. They could make an addition and put more students on the property. Is that correct?
I don't believe so. If it is a current single family home that is defined as a boarding house or a lodging house within our code, it's legal non-conforming, meaning that per our code, they cannot expand the physical footprint of the legal non-conforming use. And so they would have to convert it back. In order to expand the house, they would have to bring it into compliance, which means that the family definition or a zoning code would apply, which means no more than two unrelated individuals.
Thank you.
Anything else? We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve. Okay. With that, all those in favor of the motion to approve, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Agenda item 5, the July, August, and September 2020 monthly reports.
So we did not include these this summer. Maria Moore, who typically handles these, was out on leave most of the summer. And so instead of training someone else to do it, we just waited for her to come back, and she did an excellent job updating all this information. But as you can see, we have trended above average, several $1 million above average for declared new value, which is great for the community. In all 3 months, the July, August, and September valuations are again way up, which is phenomenal. It means that folks are reinvesting either in their existing homes. There's a number of 2-family homes that permits were pulled for, and then we have a number of additions to commercial buildings as an example. So I would expect this to go up yet a little bit as we go through October and November. We have a number of projects that are hopefully going to break ground and building permits will be applied for, including the Marshfield Clinic project and the Northside Yard project, which should be starting this week, fingers crossed. So that's what I have regarding our reports. More than happy to answer any questions or concerns.
That's great. That's excellent. Any comments or questions for the director?
This is the past 3 months, is Commissioner Aronson. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, considering the times, Ryan, you got any comment on the thoughts on why this is happening? Is this because of COVID, in spite of COVID? It seems kind of unusual.
Yeah, I would say the alterations is really what's bringing our declared valuations way up. With, I think, a lot of folks working from home, we've seen a number of alteration permits come in. That kitchen remodel project that you've been delaying on doing for a number of years finally seems to be you've got time to do it. That, along with, we had a number of re-roofs and re-sidings, a lot of fence permits. I don't know if that's an indicator as to your angerness with your neighbors, but so we've had a number of additions and alterations. I would suspect this is going to slow down in 2021, just because it's not necessarily a sustainable thing to keep pushing forward with. So.
That was my other question. Do you see this as continuing? But it kind of makes sense. Now's the time to do it.
Right.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Questions, comments to the director? Looks excellent. With that, I will move to accept the reports and place them on file.
I'll second Alder Kneebone.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carries. Agenda item 6, director's report.
The director's report is included in a memorandum in your agenda packet. Things just keep humming along here. So major things that we should note is I'm really trying to work on finishing up the targeted area master plan for downtown. The original idea was we were going to approve that when we could meet in person again, but that's likely not going to happen for quite some time. And so we've been working through a few challenges with the proposed targeted area master plan, mainly with compliance with it's a FERC requirement. It's essentially a recreation requirement that Verso and Quipco has. And if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty details, I suggest you watch the Plan Commission from February, the joint meeting where I did a presentation on this. So we are working with Quipco on reviewing to get their more or less informal blessing to say, yeah, we support this. We're okay going forward with this type of development plan. And that's probably been the biggest thing that's been holding it up right now. But I'm hopeful that in the near future, we can get the joint bodies back together for final adoption, since it's been done for a few months now. I'll also note that TIF 11, 12, and 13, all proper documentation was submitted to DOR. Everything for that was due last week. We submitted it well in advance of that, and so it's currently under review. If you haven't had the opportunity, the city's strategic planning efforts are well underway. We've done a number of visioning sessions, and we're likely going to do a few more as that document comes forward. Very excited to have that strategic plan put in place with the vision statement and mission statements and everything else. I think it'll really help with future, not only urban planning for the city, but just in general, where do we want to align our financial resources, things of that nature. Was hopeful that we'd have the housing affordability report that was done in-house this year, done and over with. It's like 85% done. I've got to finish a few items within it, but I will hopefully have that before you in December, because it is due to be published on our website by the end of January. So with that, I'm more than happy to answer any of the questions that folks have on the report. Otherwise, would recommend placing it on file.
Okay, questions or comments for the director? There's a lot going on. I think it's excellent. So with that, I will move to approve the report, director's report, and place it on file.
I'd second. And I agree, things are good, relatively speaking.
Further comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. And with that, our agenda is exhausted and we stand completed at 6:26.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.